Hey, Terry Vanover here. Happy New Year. It's so good to have you here with me today. I'm so excited to see you here in this new year. It's going to be a wonderful new chapter. And I'm going to talk to you today about how being a nice guy, destroys relationships. So I want to start with, who I am and what I do. And then I'm going to get into the definition of what a nice guy is, because I think for many people, they are really shocked to hear that especially a woman would say such a thing. But I'm going to talk about that and why, as a woman, I don't want a nice guy, and want to help you stop, being a nice guy so that you can show up as your true self, as your authentic self. And as a woman, I want a partner who, knows his true power and is not in the relationship only for me, but I want an equal partnership. And so we're going to talk about that, how to have really great, healthy boundaries and show up as the authentic version of yourself in your relationship. So I'm a divorce strategist. I help you come through divorce without being legally, financially, and emotionally devastated. But just as importantly, I show you how to heal from toxic relationships and unhealthy relationship dynamics so that you can transition into this next chapter of your life and find a really happy, healthy relationship that you deserve. So, I went through a horrendous divorce. It was 2.5 years, two failed mediations and attorneys. I don't even know how many tens of thousands between the two of us we blew, and only just to circle back and end up right where we started. So I really understand all the mistakes that can be made during divorce because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And when I came through it, I realized there has to be a better way. And so I learned the tools and the resources and the support that you need to get through divorce. Everyone thinks you need an attorney. Not true at all. There's so many options that you don't, some divorce don't even need an attorney, but there's definitely some things that you need to be thinking about as you're going through divorce. And not only that, I recognized how much the emotional devastation that you're going through really impacts the decisions that you're making now. I know for me, I didn't look into proper resources with my home and with what to do with my financials afterwards, and it just really devastated me. And I lost my home. I became homeless during this time. I lost my mother during this period. I was lost all my financial stability, and I was hit by a van while riding my bike. So I had all these health, like just this string of health issues that like really devastated me. So for those of you that are going through divorce and COVID right now, it is a really overwhelming time, and I really understand how you're feeling, how overwhelming it is. I know the grief and the loss that you're experiencing, and so I want to make sure that you're minimizing the damage that's being done now so that you can get into this next chapter in a better position, really. So, I grew up just a poor country girl. You probably hear my accent. That's usually the first question people ask me, where are you from? I grew up in Virginia, just in the backwoods of Virginia. And my mom was like a single mom, very little education. I grew up in a lot of poverty without, I was sexually abused by a family member when I was 6, 7 years old. And my biological father is a functioning alcoholic, and he pretty much abandoned us right after the divorce. And I can tell you, count on less than, a few fingers how many times I've seen him. And what few experiences I had with my biological father were pretty negative and demeaning. And so I grew up with a lot of shame and a sense of abandonment and a sense that I was not enough. And I brought all of that into my adulthood, but particularly my marriage. I believe that our unhealed issues, we try to heal those unconsciously in our intimate relationships. We marry people in the hopes that they'll give us what it was that we didn't get in our childhood. And so I was seeking security and stability and affirmation from my husband. It was never, 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 never enough. I was so needy and so insecure and so controlling. There was no amount of love that could fill my void because I didn't love myself. Now I recognize that. Now I realize it. And so for many people who are nice guys, right? If you're a nice guy, you are using other people to get approval because the truth is deep, deep down inside, you don't love yourself, you don't value yourself. So you unconsciously seek the approval of others to make yourself feel better about yourself. But it destroys relationships for a number of reasons. First off, you're constantly sacrificing your own happiness to please others. And what that does is that it builds resentment. And let me tell y'all, resentment is the number one relationship killer. Any marriage, coach, marriage therapist will tell you, oftentimes people come to us after the resentment is so built up, we can't get through the layers of the resentment, and it's the number one relationship killer. And not only that, there's this unbalanced energy within the relationship. Oftentimes, nice guys, show me y'all, nice guys, yeah, this is going to ring a bell for most of you, will marry controlling women. So, what is a nice guy? A nice guy is the guy that doesn't have healthy boundaries. It's a good guy, has a good heart, means well, but unfortunately, they give in too much and they overgive and they don't have healthy boundaries in their families and in their intimate partnerships. That's what a nice guy is. And so he overgives in the relationship. And oftentimes a nice guy will marry a very controlling partner or a controlling woman. And you've already set up this imbalance in the relationship. You've got one who's striving for control. And I could do a whole nother video on control and what that is, right? And you've got this overgiving, over pleasing person as well. So already this partnership is not a partnership, right? It's already imbalanced. And not only that, when you're a nice guy and you're in this energy of not being who you truly are, you're not your authentic self, you're overgiving for the approval of others. You've got this hidden agenda. And let me tell you, that's manipulative. That's a manipulation in and of itself. Just like the controlling person is trying to manipulate everyone and everything and everyone around them. A nice guy is unconsciously manipulating those around him too. And so you've got this hidden agenda in the relationship. Oftentimes, nice guys are afraid of conflict. So you avoid conflict. Well, let me tell you, conflict can be a good thing. Conflict can help you resolve problems and heal issues. Conflict doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing if you know how to communicate in an honorable and respectful manner. So oftentimes nice guys will avoid conflict. And again, that sets up hidden agendas and issues never get resolved, right? Or you push them away or you deny them or you try to avoid them. And so it just sets up this really unhealthy dynamic in the relationship where things never truly get resolved. Your needs never get met. And so it's really, really unhealthy. And I'm working with this amazing client, and I call him a recovered nice guy. It's just so amazing. And you know what he said to me? He's going through so much, just like a lot of you guys are. I know you're going through so much. He said, I'm so happy I found you when I did because now I have the tools that I need to deal with everything that's coming up for me between COVID and, financially the business is struggling with the COVID and, my parents being, ill and this, you know, horrible divorce that's very conflict. He said, I'm so grateful that I'm working with you and you've given me the tools that I feel good about myself, that I know I can handle these things as they come along. Because he said, and this is the key here, it's becoming aware of your patterns. He said, I'm in this relationship with this amazing woman, and she came to me with an issue and a problem, and I went to that old pattern. I started to go to that old pattern, but since working with you, I knew what it was and I knew what I was doing, and I stopped myself. But he started to overgive, and he started to try to solve her problems to make her feel better. And he realized, like, this is an old pattern and I don't need to do this. Perhaps I just need to hold space for her, and we just need to work through this together. And he listened this time. They listened and worked through the problem, rather than, I think before, he would have jumped right on it and tried to solve that problem and squash that out and make her feel better right away. But it wouldn't have really resolved the underlying issues that they had. And not only that, he said, I said no. I said no to her. And I said, that's amazing, because saying no is an act of love, but it's an act of love for yourself. So think about that, because I think so many times we think of no as a sense of rejection, but no can be a way to protect yourself. It's an act of love. So, you know, dads, you see your toddler, they're strolling towards that hot fire or hot stove or something, and you say, no, 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 no touch, right? That's an act of love. That's an act of protection. And it's the same way that saying no to something you don't want to do, it's an act of love, but you're loving yourself. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting who you are and what you need. And you're speaking up for yourself and you're advocating for yourself. So he said, in the past, when she invited me to go do this activity that he didn't want to do because he was exhausted, he needed a rest, he needed to decompress, he needed some time to get some other things done. He said, in the past, I would have said yes and done it anyway and would have been sitting there in that, in that place, watching them just being bored and feeling resentful and angry. And I was like, this is amazing. It's amazing that you noticed that and you broke that pattern and that you communicated that. And again, it doesn't have to be it's an act of love. He just said, you know what, I've got some other things to do. I really need to rest. And he's got a great, amazing partner who says yes, and she wants him to be himself and his authentic version of himself. She doesn't want him to sacrifice himself for her, because a healthy person will know that that's leading down a path of destruction. Someone who's healthy and secure in themselves, a woman who loves you for who you are, wants you to be happy. I want my husband to be happy. I want him to do the things that he wants to do and not do everything just to please me. Now, there's a distinction between compromising, you know, and but and over giving, right? There is a distinction. So I love that he searched himself and tapped into himself and said, what do I need right now? What do I truly need to do? And he needed to rest. He couldn't go to this thing, and he's like, I'm so glad I did. And then when they came back, I felt really good, and I was re-energized, and I could give to her, what she wants and what she needs. So that's that's what creating healthy boundaries is, and that's what and communicating them in a way that's like open and honest and loving, but firm. So I'm really, really hoping that if you are struggling with having these healthy boundaries, if you're sick and tired of being a nice guy, like my client who said, I used to be in a dark place and now I don't feel that way at all. I finally feel like myself. And I came to you at the right time. I think a lot of people, they would say, oh, I'll wait till the divorce is over, or I'll wait till COVID is over, but now is the right time. He said, I'm so glad I came to you when I did, because now I have the tools that I need to face all this stuff that's coming up for me, a high conflict divorce and a high conflict legal team, and a relationship that, want to make sure that it's on the right foundation this time. So if you are looking to become a recovered nice guy, I have 2 sessions put aside just for our group next week. And I'd love for you to reach out to me and we'll set some time to talk about the tools that you need to stop being a nice guy and create healthy boundaries. And I will show you within 10, 15 minutes how you got to be there and what that is keeping you from being your authentic self. I can show you that within just a few minutes. And then I can give you the tools that you need to get past it and finally feel good about yourself. And so you can handle anything that comes your way and be prepared when that healthy relationship comes along and not sabotage it again. So reach out to me. I'm looking forward to seeing you, hearing from you. You can reach out to me on Facebook, send a message. I think Candace will put our Woofu link in the group for us, and I look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you tomorrow with some tips on why resolutions don't work, why resolutions don't work, and what you can do instead. All right, love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.